Sony and Marathon are back in the news today about them talking about how it's not going very smoothly, as you can see here, but we're going to be talking about the Sony and Marathon, I guess, their live service strategy. I mean, to be fair, their live service strategy has not, I would say it's not entirely going smoothly is an understatement. I think it's burned, and I think they failed really hard on their live service strategy because I don't even know any of the Sony live service games that anyone's playing. Like, I actually don't even know if any of them even exist anymore. I don't think so. So I think it is an understatement for that, I would say, at least. We're going to be on this week on video games. It's going to be linked in the description, and this is by Edmund Tran. Thank you for the article. Like I said, it'll be linked in the description if you'd like to check it out for yourself. So the title goes, Sony on Marathon live service strategy, it's not entirely going smoothly. And like I said before, I feel like that is an understatement because I don't know any game that is a live service that is going on in Sony that has been released and is actually doing things, because Marathon has been delayed, Concord was a failure, the Last of Us live service game was canceled, and then there was 2 other games that were canceled. So like, it's not that it's not even going smoothly, it's nothing's happened. They've just spent money and nothing happened, basically, which I feel like is an even worse thing. Just before we get into the article, I'd like to remind everyone, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it if you do. 95% of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, so please hit that subscribe button. Also, if you'd like to support me directly, I'd really appreciate it if you go over to my Patreon, also linked in the description if you'd like to join the credits of all my videos. Sony has addressed concerns regarding the delay in development of Bungie's Marathon, as well as its broader shift to live service games during the Q&A portion of its Q1 FY 2025 earnings presentation. I wonder what FY stands for. Financial year? It stands for financial year, yeah. A shareholder raised a question regarding the negative impact of Marathon's delay to Sony's overall financial outlook for the games and network service segment, questioned Sony's oversight of Bungie, and asked what might happen in a worst case scenario if Marathon can be cancelled outright. I honestly am not entirely sure even if they will cancel the game, because it might be a sunk cost fallacy at this point, because out of all the live service games, even though it does feel weird to say it, I feel like Marathon has the best chance for success, potentially. Honestly, I feel like maybe the Last of Us one might have had a better chance, but we never actually saw that. We never saw anything from the Last of Us one, but like, people have been craving for a new Last of Us game for a long time, and if it was even slightly like Last of Us, if it was like the multiplayer, I feel like the multiplayer in Last of Us was kind of not really looked at, because the multiplayer, from what I remember, people kind of enjoyed it. The people who did play it, people enjoyed it, so if there was something like that, maybe people would have enjoyed it. But the thing with Marathon is that it's fighting such hard competition now, especially in the extraction shooter genre, which is already kind of small, with Arc Raiders coming out in October, with Escape from Tarkov still doing really well. And honestly, even with just those 2 games, it feels like the market is just not there. So it's really hard to say, but I do feel like Marathon might have the best chance of success, only because there is only really one game right now in competition with it, and that's Escape from Tarkov. When Arc Raiders comes out, it will be competition, but we don't know necessarily how long that's going to have a staying power with. Like, sure, the betas did very well, but that's a beta, so we don't really know how well it's going to go. And like, for instance, like, it's like the only other extraction shooter like game that I remember is the Call of Duty mode that had it in Warzone, but I don't think they update that mode. I don't think they work on that mode anymore, so unless they do and I just don't know about it, but I don't think they do, because I enjoyed that mode when I played it a couple times. Through an English language translator, Lin Tao, Sony's chief financial officer and corporate executive officer, remarked that the financial impact would be slight. The sales are very small compared to the overall sales of the timing of launch, which does make some sense, because if I remember correctly, they haven't even talked about the price for Marathon, so it was potentially going to be a free-to-play game, so who knows at that point. Regarding the release of Marathon, she said, we expect the launch to happen within this financial year, but having said that, this is not a commitment and no official announcement has been given yet. Yeah, I don't expect Marathon to come out this year, or this financial year. I expect it to come out next year. Oh god, when does the financial quarter end? Because this is Q1. I guess this is Q1 2025. So I'm expecting it to be, wait, it's Q1? Interesting. I thought this is Q4 of 2025. I don't know the financial year. Anyway, in terms of actual date, I'm expecting 2026 at the earliest. I don't think this game is ready to launch this year. And if I'm reading this correctly, I feel like that is within this financial year, because financial year isn't the calendar year. is different. All right, I tried to look it up when financial years are, but the problem is they're different from company to company. So it looks like they are hoping for it still coming out this financial year, but I don't even know if I believe them because like they're not even committed to it. Like they even said those so themselves. So I don't think that's likely. Based on the progression made in the autumn timeframe, we believe we can communicate when we'll be launching. Okay, that's good. We are now fixing the problem, so we believe this launch will happen. If this launch is canceled, we need to do a revision of the valuation. However, as of now, this is not expected. That does make sense. I do think Marathon has a chance, but it needed changes because it didn't feel like an extraction shooter. It felt like a weird battle royale from what people have said when playing it. And two, the game just didn't feel like it had having a soul is kind of like a weird thing, but it felt like it didn't have a right direction. It didn't feel like a sci-fi shooter game. It kind of felt like an Apex Light almost, I feel like. And like there was just so much visual clutter that it was just a mess. And then all the art stealing stuff happened as well. It was bad. It was really bad. Commenting on Sony's governance of Bungie as a studio, Tao commented that at the time of acquisition, we are offering a very independent environment. However, thereafter, we have gone through structural reform as we announced last year, so this type of independence is getting lighter, so Bungie is shifting into a role which is becoming more part of a PlayStation Studios, which makes sense. You don't buy a company for over $3 billion and expect them to be independent forever. Bungie is no longer an independent company. This is known. They've been talking about this for years, and I feel like it's just kind of been like not really reported that much. But yeah, Sony owns Bungie, and Bungie is not an independent studio. Bungie is going to be a part of PlayStation Studios. Like they'll still probably have the Bungie logo and all that stuff, but they're still part of Sony. They're still part of PlayStation now. You don't buy a company for $3 billion and keep them independent. That's like not a good idea. In the long term, you can see this as an ongoing process. So the direction is to become part of the PlayStation Studios. Yeah, like I feel like everyone that thought about it critically could figure that out, but emotionally, people wanted Bungie to stay independent even with the acquisition of the $3.3 billion, but it was never going to happen. Like Sony isn't stupid, Bungie isn't stupid, and also Bungie isn't doing very well. Destiny 2 is like at the lowest it's ever been, and that's all Bungie has. Bungie has Destiny and that's it, and Destiny 2 isn't doing very well. And arguably it's doing the worst I've ever seen it do for a very long time. So Bungie doesn't really have anything right now. Like other than Marathon, Bungie isn't doing anything other than Destiny 2. Like when they have two games and both of them aren't in good light, it's not a good sign. Honestly, what I'm expecting a full gutting of Bungie and a restart, basically, like a emergency button hit restart for Bungie. And it's gonna suck because that means a lot of people are gonna get fired or laid off or whatever corporate term they want to use. Though I do think the management at Bungie needs to be fired. The CEO, the management teams of Bungie needs to be let go. They have absolutely no idea what they're doing. And also, I think they just blatantly lied to Sony because I don't think Bungie is worth $3 billion. Like, I just don't. Like, if Activision Blizzard is worth, what was it, $69 million or something like that, Bungie is definitely not worth $3 billion. I say that now, and that sounds so crazy. Am I wrong about Sony buying them for $3 billion? Let me double check that. All right, I was right. It was $3.6 billion if my Google search is correct. So yeah, they are crazy overpriced. Oh wait, the Activision Blizzard thing was $68.7 billion. For some reason I thought it was million. It's billion. Which then again makes sense because it is Activision Blizzard King. But still, Bungie isn't worth $3 billion. I'm sorry, they're just not. So I did get that wrong, I'm sorry. A different shareholder followed up a question with queries about Sony's overall shift into live service strategy. Tao responded, last year Concord and this year Marathon was postponed. Somewhat negative news has been coming out. But if you look, 5 years ago, long live service games were almost non-existent for PlayStation Studios. We have Helldivers 2, MLB, Gran Turismo 7, and Bungie's Destiny 2. So we have all these 4 live service contributing to sales and profits in this stable manner. Oh yeah, I guess they do own Helldivers 2, and that is a live service game. That's true. MLB, that's the baseball game, isn't it? I guess that is technically a live service. Gran Turismo 7? Is that a live service? I guess they've turned that into a live service. I didn't actually know that. I'm not really a racing game person, so I guess that's interesting. I guess technically they have 4, but Helldivers 2 is like well into it, and I don't think they're selling that many more copies of Helldivers 2. Destiny 2 is on its very big downfall at this point. MLB is a sports game, so I'm sure it's doing fine. And Gran Turismo 7, I mean, like racing games are popular, but I don't know if they're that popular. Tao then gave some context regarding the contributions of live service to Sony's revenue. For Q1, live service ratio was about 40% for the full year. It's a little less, probably between 20 to 30%. Interesting. So, I mean, that's almost half for the full year at least. Or no, for Q1. Well, it's like I said, I feel like all these games are, like, not to say they're on the downturn, but, like, they're not new games. Like, live service games, I feel like, make the most money in its first year. But all these games are not in their first year at all. Like, Destiny 2 is what? Over 10 years old now? Helldivers 2 is 1 or 2 years old now, I feel like. No, I think Helldivers 2 is still in its first year, isn't it? But Helldivers 2 isn't a like exploitative game when it comes to its microtransactions. So I feel like that game is making less money than most live service games that are categorized as live service. And honestly, I'm completely in the dark when it comes to Gran Turismo 7 and MLB. So I'll just have to, not know that. In terms of transformation, it's not entirely going smoothly, but from a longer term perspective, if you look at the changes over 5 years, you see that it's definitely been change. I mean, if you look at that point of view, it is slightly correct, though I still think it's been overall a failure, other than Helldivers 2, in my opinion. Of course, we recognize there's still many issues, so we should learn lessons from mistakes and make sure that we introduce live service content where there's less waste and it's more smooth. Quotes from were translated by Sony in real time. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So I just feel like it's way more than underperforming. I think overall the transition to live service has failed for Sony, because other than Helldivers 2, and I've seen some hype for MLB, but I've also seen a lot of baseball fans be kind of upset at it, and I'm sorry, I'm completely disconnected from Gran Turismo 7, but the Helldivers 2 was successful, Bungie's failing in every way, and Marathon was postponed, and Concord was a disaster. And other than that, Sony didn't really release any other games. I don't actually remember what games they released. So I feel like it's a little more than just underperforming. But I mean, I guess they're kind of ramping it up, and I'm not surprised about Bungie slowly becoming part of PlayStation more and more, because let's be honest, they were never going to be an independent studio anyway, so it's not that surprising. But thank you for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you liked to subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. 95% of the people who are watching my videos aren't subscribed, so please hit that subscribe button. You just heard my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion down in the comments down below. If you liked the video, please like it. If you disliked it, please dislike it. I completely understand. If you'd like to support me directly, please join my Patreon to join the credits of the videos. If you'd like to follow me on other platforms, I have a Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads, all at the Techno Jelly. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Goodbye, everyone.